All right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining in our yoga practice today. Today, we're going to begin by taking a blanket or a towel and just making a nice long roll with it. So, just finding any way to roll that blanket or towel up so that it's at least as long as your upper body. So, you want to be able to lie down on this with your head supported all the way to your tailbone. Once you have a roll, you can go ahead and sit on your mat. Try not to sit on your blanket or towel, sit on your mat, and then just scoot yourself up as close to your blanket as you can. So the end of your blanket is actually touching your low back, right in the middle of your spine. And taking your time, you're just going to lower yourself down so that the blanket falls along the back of your spine and the back of your head. If you find that your head or neck wants a little more support here, you can grab a block or even a couch pillow and add a little bit of height there. If you want to just bring a block under your head, that's an option. Otherwise, let your head relax, your head in line with your spine. You can bring your arms down beside you, turning your palms up toward the ceiling. Or for even more of an opening across your chest, you might explore spreading your arms out wide to a T, or even reaching your arms overhead, holding opposite wrists or elbows above your head. We'll be here for a little while, so feel free to explore a few different variations with your arms. You might start just allowing the arms to rest down beside you, walking your shoulders down away from your ears slightly. You can keep your knees bent here, or feel free to lie down flat, extending both your legs, your feet, at least hips width distance apart. And then just allowing your whole body to start to settle. And we'll allow plenty of time here for this little process of becoming present in our bodies. Allow some softening around your eyes. Feel free to let your eyes close or just pick a spot on the ceiling above you or looking up at the sky if you're outside, and let your eyes relax as you gaze at that spot. Take a fuller breath in, expanding through your chest and ribs, and a long, slow breath out, letting your body settle a little bit more. Draw your awareness to your breathing and just begin to allow your breath to slow, not forcing your breath to change, but simply lengthening each exhale by 1 second. If you'd like to practice equal part or equal wave breathing, then you can begin to count your inhales to match the length of your exhales. That might be a 4, 5, or 6 count as you inhale, and the same as you exhale. Do your best just to meet your breath wherever it is today in this moment. If it's a little shorter and more shallow, you can allow for that instead of forcing your nervous system. If you'd like to choose a different variation for your arms or legs, you might explore that now. The arms might move out to the sides or up overhead. Legs might extend long if they haven't already. You can also find butterfly legs, joining the soles of your feet together, and just letting your knees open out to the sides. If you need to come off of your blanket before I cue the next pose, just slowly roll yourself off and onto the floor, and you can hang out on your back until we all join together there. Notice the areas of your body that are connected to the floor, that are weighted down. Continuing to breathe, becoming aware of the sounds in the space around you. Noticing things like the temperature of the room or the air. If your arms are overhead, gently bring your arms down beside you. And let's all just gently rub thumbs across fingertips, stimulating the tips of the fingers. As you do that, slowly walk your feet back in, bending your knees, planting your feet on the floor. From here, let's make fists with the hands. The elbows are just resting, hands are lifted. You can just circle through your elbows, or circle through your wrists, rather. Change direction of these wrist circles. And at your own pace, choose which side you'll roll over to, and then slowly rock your way over onto that side. So you're gonna roll off the blanket onto the side body, onto the floor. Reach one hand behind you and just push your blanket off to the side. You won't need it for a few minutes here. And then you'll just find your way back onto your back, keeping knees bent, feet planted. Let's take a moment here to allow the back to spread out on the floor. You can walk your shoulder blades away from each other underneath you, gently curling your low back under to lengthen the low back. From here, gently bring both knees into your chest. Take your hands around either the back of your thighs or the front of your knees. Hug your thighs in towards your belly just to the degree that feels comfortable for you today. And let's start by finding some circles with the knees, small or large circles, gently rolling around on your low back on the floor. I want to offer that reminder to everyone just to take care of your own body during your yoga practice, knowing that it's normal for our bodies to feel a little bit differently every day. Sometimes we feel like we can do a really strong practice, breathe quickly and deeply, move smoothly, and other days things need a little more attention and care. See if you can bring that presence to your practice of just meeting yourself wherever you're at in this moment. Let's switch directions of the knee circles. Make your way back into a neutral spine, keeping knees lifted. Bring both hands around the right knee and plant your left foot onto the floor, keeping that left knee bent. If you'd like a little more in your hips, you can start to extend your left heel forward, lengthening the left leg onto your mat. Hug the right thigh in any amount towards your belly, and let's point and flex through your right foot. As you flex your foot, try to spread your toes out. As you point your foot, curl your toes into a ball. Maybe find a few ankle circles here if that calls to you. Letting your foot relax, let's switch our grip. Hold behind your thigh with both hands. You can interlace your fingers behind your thigh. And then gently start to reach the ball of your foot up toward the ceiling. Now, your foot might only lift a few inches there before it feels like that's enough in your hamstring or another part of your leg. You can straighten your leg just to your degree, making sure you can still breathe and that there's sensation but not pain. As you reach that leg up, can you soften your jaw, your neck, even the tops of your shoulders? Your next exhale, bend your right knee, plant your right foot onto the floor, releasing your hands. As that foot comes down, draw left knee into the chest. Let's wrap our hands around the front of the knee or the back of the thigh. Just switching sides here. And you, of course, have that option here. If you want to extend the right leg long, you can. Reaching the right heel toward the front of the mat. Hug your left thigh in any amount. And again, let's find those pointing and flexing movements with your left foot. Consciously relaxing jaw, neck, shoulders. Find some ankle circles if you want to. Letting your foot relax. Interlace your fingers behind your left thigh. Start to reach the ball of left foot toward the ceiling. Any amount here, straightening the leg just to your degree, keeping a bend in your knees just fine. As you exhale, start to bend the left knee, release your hands, plant your left foot down. Bend your right knee, plant your right foot. And from here, we'll gently roll over onto either side, press ourselves up to seated. And you might take a moment here to fold up your blanket or your towel so that you can sit on it for a few seated poses. So we'll just take a pause here to allow time for everyone to make that adjustment as needed. When we sit on a blanket, it can help to elevate our hips a little bit in this cross-legged position, creating a little more length for our low back. And I invite you to really scoot yourself forward so you're just sitting on the edges of your sits bones on the edge of the blanket. And it's helping your pelvis tilt forward just slightly. And if it's more comfortable for you to extend one or both legs or even kneel with your seat up on a block or two, you can do that. All we want to really focus on here is having that long spine. So we're sitting up tall, allowing the heart to lift, the shoulders to draw back and down gently. Soften your gaze toward the floor or let your eyes gently close. Take a long breath in through your nose and sigh it out your mouth. Allowing everything to soften a little bit toward the floor, just bringing in some more relaxation. From here, lower your chin toward your chest, keeping your shoulders where they are. Just allow head to hang heavy. Unhinge your jaw, making sure there's no clenching of your teeth. Using an inhale, slowly begin to sweep left ear up toward left shoulder. Allow your chin to reach slightly up toward the ceiling as you reach your head back to the left. Then with an exhale, let's come back down that same side, drawing chin down left side to center. As you inhale, reach right ear toward right shoulder. Lifting chin gently toward the ceiling, stretching open that left front side of your neck. And again, sweeping chin back down with your exhale to center of your chest. Find your own rhythm here, moving nice and slow as we start to get into those deeper neck muscles. Continuing to breathe and trying to keep your jaw soft. Your movements here might be really tiny or bigger, sweeping motions. Let's try to discover how your neck wants to move this morning. The next time you reach left ear toward left shoulder, let's hang out there for a moment, just letting your head hang heavy to your left side. And if you'd like a little more here, if that feels like it would be okay in your body, reach your right fingertips onto the floor, just tenting them beside you. You might also tiptoe those fingertips toward the wall behind you, little by little. Now, this just simply moves where the stretch is happening, so you can explore on your own what feels best. Breathing with the intention to create space internally. If your right fingertips are on the floor, start to walk them back onto your right thigh. Slowly sweep your chin back down toward your chest. Trying to keep these movements just as smooth as possible. Let's find our way up to the other side. Head reaching up and to the right, hanging just gently over the right shoulder. And again, if it feels okay, you have this option to just add on the left fingertips onto the floor, lengthening left side of your neck even more. Trying to keep shoulders soft. If that right shoulder wants to hug up into your ear, see if you can just let it relax down and away. Tiptoe fingertips on left hand back onto your thigh. Slowly sweep your chin back down to the center of your chest. Using an inhale, simply roll your head back up to neutral. And exhale there. Use your next inhale to sweep your arms out and up. If it's available, you might join your palms above you, gazing to your thumbs. Otherwise, keeping your hands separated is just fine. As you exhale, let's find cactus arms, bending the elbows, lifting the heart. Squeeze your shoulders together on your back. Gaze can be forward or even lifted. Inhale, arms reach back up, palms can meet if that's available. Exhale, hands to heart center. Let's do that again. Inhale, arms sweep out and up. Long through side bodies. Exhale, cactus arms, open your heart. Inhale, sweep up, long spine. Exhale, hands to heart. Release your hands back to your thighs. Let's find some slow shoulder rolls. Just lifting shoulders up to your ears and then drawing shoulders together and down on your back. Again, maybe little tiny movements or big ones. And let's switch directions. Squeeze your shoulders together and then lift them up on your back. Roll them forward down the front. Breathing as you do so. Inhaling as your shoulders lift. Exhaling as they lower, or some other way of linking your breathing up. Let's let the shoulders relax. Flip your palms over, palms turn up, back of your hands resting on your thighs. Make sure you're feeling equally weighted across both your sits bones. So we're sitting in center. And again, just drawing awareness to your spine, feeling the crown of your head gently lift up toward the ceiling. Have an optional neck stretch if this is safe movement for your neck. You can interlace your fingers just at the base of your skull behind your neck. So your pinkies are kind of pressing into that hard, bony part of the base of your skull. From here, you can gently lift your hand, lift your elbows. And we're not pulling our head up with any kind of intensity here. We're just gently lengthening the back of your neck. If you want to help this out, you can even start to float your gaze up toward the ceiling as our body wants to move in the direction that we're looking. Elbows lifting, breathing. Let's keep the core a little strong here, hugging lowest ribs in. As you exhale, let's release the hands, again making fists, and just circle your wrists as you let your shoulders relax. Great. Okay, one more movement in seated. Let's inhale, sweep arms out and up. As you exhale, twist to your left, floating your fingertips down to frame your body, tenting fingertips on the floor. If you'd like to bring the right hand outside the left thigh, you can feel free to do that. Draw your shoulders gently back and down, keeping your chest broad, your heart open. With each inhale, feel your spine lengthen a little bit longer, getting taller with your breath in. As you exhale, draw your navel in toward your spine and let your ribs and shoulders twist a little more. Gaze can move in the same direction as your twist, over to the left corner of your eyes. As you exhale, gently unwind, make your way just back to center, rest your hands on your thighs. Take a moment just to notice if you sense the difference in one side versus the other after twisting. As you inhale, sweep both arms out and up. Let's exhale to the other side, bringing fingertips down around your body. Option to bring left hand outside right thigh. And same thing here, just tapping into your breathing, finding that internal rhythm, like waves crashing. As you exhale, let yourself unwind back to center. Let's take a long breath in through your nose. Again, side out your mouth. Let's find our way into a tabletop position. And if you'd like to have your blanket or towel across your mat to support your knees, then I do highly recommend that if you're on a hard floor. If you're using blocks or something like blocks today, you can just bring them up to the front of your mat and have them ready for you. For a table pose, spend a few moments setting this up so you can feel grounded and stable. Feel for the shoulders stacking above your wrists, fingers spread wide. Hips stack above your knees, pressing the tops of your feet and all your toenails down into the ground. As you inhale, let's lower the belly, lift the gaze and the tailbone, finding an arch in your spine, gently drawing your heart forward. With an exhale, belly draws in. Let's push into the floor and round your spine. Curl your tailbone under, tuck your chin, round your shoulders. Find a few more moving with your breath. Inhales as you arch your back, sits bones move away from each other as your tailbone lifts. Exhales as you round, sits bones move closer together as you curl your tailbone under. Just finding your breath. Let's find one more round in each direction. So big arch with your spine. And then a nice rounding. And let's make our way back into a neutral table pose. Walk your knees out toward the edges of your mat and bring your big toes together behind you. Let's find our child's pose. Sending the hips back and down any amount that's available. Walk your hands forward to lengthen the sides of your body and then melt your forehead onto a block or the floor. If your chest reaches the floor, you might feel free to bring a cheek down instead of your nose if that's more comfortable. As you breathe here, invite things to soften toward the floor. So even though you might feel a stretch in this pose, we're trying to let go of effort here. This is not really an active pose with our muscles. We're softening toward the floor. Lift your gaze, slowly make your way back up onto your hands and your knees. Table pose. From table, tuck your toes under, so you're up on your toes or the balls of your feet. Engage your thighs a little bit, and then walk your hands toward the front of your mat for puppy pose. You might have a block handy just where your forehead can come down. Keep your hips lifted here, just where they are, and start to melt your heart down toward the floor. Forehead rests on a block or your mat. So finding this downward dog shape just in the upper body. Tailbones reaching up and back, hearts melting toward the floor, and the arms are active here. We're pushing the hands into the floor to help send the tailbone high. Inhale to gently lift your chest back up. Walk your hands back under your shoulders, finding table pose. And then from here, let's just lower ourselves down onto our bellies. So however makes sense for you to get down, come down all the way onto the front of your body. Untuck your toes, pressing the tops of your feet into the mat. And then walk your elbows forward for a Sphinx pose. Your elbows should fall below your shoulders, and if they're a little wider than your shoulders, that's okay too. That might just feel better for some of you. Forearms parallel, palms and fingers pressing down into the ground. You can let your legs relax here, but if you feel sensation in your low back, I'd encourage you to engage your legs and your glutes, sending your tailbone back and down. That just helps to lengthen your low back if you're feeling a little crunchy back there. Draw your shoulders back, press your elbows down into the floor to lift your heart. Gaze down the line of your nose. So we're not cranking into the back of the neck, gazing up. We're just gazing down into about where the fingertips land. Softening your jaw. Start to gently move your gaze over your left shoulder. Turning your head to the left. And then slowly make your way back through center and turn your gaze to the right. And you might do that each side one more time if it feels okay in your neck. Just moving through the neck. As you make your way back to center, let's gently release the chest. Stack your hands on top of each other, elbows out wide, and then rest your forehead on the back of your hands, just letting your body soften toward the floor. Moving slowly, make our way back up onto hands and knees for table pose. Still using a blanket or towel to support your knees if you have one. Make sure your hips are above your knees. Let's bring the right hand, plant it in the center of the mat beneath your face. And as you inhale, reach your left hand up toward the ceiling. So just twisting open to the left. And spending a breath or two here, starting to move your gaze left or even up toward the ceiling if that's okay in your neck. Push the floor away from you with your right hand. As you exhale, slowly sweep your left hand back down to the floor. Let's reset, table pose. And then switching sides, left palm plants beneath the face at the center of your mat. Inhale as your right hand reaches up, twisting your heart open to the right. Try to keep your hips aligned over your knees here. They might want to swing over to that right side. That's okay, a little bit. But if they're way over to the right, try to draw the hips back a little bit toward the left side. As you exhale, sweep right hand back down, table pose. Now, yogi's choice. You can feel free to stay in table pose today, or if you want to try downward facing dog, you can explore that by tucking toes under, lifting hips up and back, pressing firmly into your palms to lengthen your spine long. Find any kind of movements you'd like in your down dog, just to wake up the backs of your legs, your hips, your shoulders. And of course, releasing your neck here, just letting your head hang heavy. You might find a little nod or sway of your head. And 4 more breaths wherever you are. As you're ready, gaze forward. If you're in down dog, bend your knees and slowly walk your feet up to the front of your mat. If you're in table, make your way up to the front of your mat. We'll meet there in a forward fold. Feet about hips width distance, a generous bend in both knees. Once you're there, inhale into a flat back. Now, some of you may be here with your fingertips on the floor, knees slightly bent, reaching heart forward, tailbone back. Notice the spine is just long here. That's what we're going for. If it's more available, hands to shins, drawing shoulders back, or hands above the knees. These are all perfect variations of flat back. Just looking to lengthen that spine. Using an exhale, soften and fold forward, releasing head and hands to the floor or toward the floor. Let your head nod and shake, your jaw relax. You might take a breath or two out of your mouth. Open your mouth, stick out your tongue. Just find some release for the muscles of your face and jaw. Let's inhale, flat back, choosing your variation. Exhaling here, let's bring our hands onto our hips, keeping belly strong, knees slightly bent. Use a long breath in to push down into your feet and rise to standing. As you come up, we'll make our way into Tadasana, mountain pose, our equal standing pose. Now again, I don't like practicing with mirrors or anything like that, because what we want is to more feel into our bodies to feel, is there balance in this shape? Am I standing evenly? It can help sometimes if to see your body, but what we really want through our practice is that internal awareness of where are we in space? How are we standing and moving through the world? So sensing the weight on each foot, you might shift your weight a little bit side to side, noticing how your weight can shift and each foot can just absorb all of that load from the other foot. And slowly start to make these smaller movements until you're standing in what feels like your center. We're not going to overthink it. Just going to make our way to what kind of feels like center. Lift up your toes, separate your toes, and set them back down on the floor. As you inhale, sweep your arms out and up. As you exhale, let's find a little bend in the knees. Cactus arms lift your heart. So that bend in the knees is important here so we can really get that arch in the back. Then push down into your feet, straight legs, hands reach up. Inhale, soften your knees, exhale, dive down. Folding all the way forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Nice. Let's string all that together. Softening your knees, gaze forward. As you inhale, sweep your arms out and up, rising with a flat back. As you exhale, bend your knees, cactus arms, open your heart. Inhale, stand tall, pushing down into your feet. Exhale, soften knees, hinge at your hips, dive down. Head and hands hang heavy. If your hands are not touching the floor as you fold forward, bring blocks or pillows down so they have something to rest on. Let's inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Let's do that again. As you inhale, reverse that swan dive, rising all the way up. Exhale, bend knees, cactus arms. Inhale, reach up, stand tall. Soften knees, exhale, dive down. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Let's find our ragdoll this time. Holding opposite elbows, letting your upper body sway side to side. Notice if you're standing mostly in your heels here, and see if you can shift some of your weight forward so that the balls of your feet are working as well. Releasing your hands down. Take a little bend in your knees, gaze forward. Flip your palms over and use an inhale to rise all the way up. Palms meet. This time, exhale, hands to heart center. Let's let our thumbs rest upon the center of the chest, letting the shoulders soften, the eyes relax or close. As you breathe in, feel your heart rise up to meet your thumbs. As you breathe out, feel yourself connect through your feet to the floor, sending that energy down your body, grounding you. Gently flutter your eyelids open if they're closed. From here, let's bring hands onto hips And I'm going to invite you to step your left foot back and find a high lunge. So we're going to bend the front right knee, step that left foot back any amount, and come up onto the ball of the back foot. So you can decide how long your lunge is. You might be here, right, with a shorter space between your feet, but still getting that stretch. Or you might have a much longer lunge, bending into more of a right angle in the right knee, or anywhere in between that feels right for you today. Going to try to keep our hips square. We're up on the toes, the ball of the back foot, straightening and engaging the back leg as the front knee bends. Just be mindful that your front knee is not moving in front of your ankle like this. That's too much pressure on the knee joint. You want the knee above your ankle, or maybe even a little bit behind your ankle, just to keep your knee safe. Settle your gaze at a single point in front of you. Soften your shoulders and engage your core to find your center. Just energetically drawing that awareness in. Where's our center? Where is that balance point? If you'd like to build more heat, you might extend arms up toward the ceiling, palms turn toward each other. Notice if your front toes are gripping the floor, and try to just lightly touch those toes down. With your next exhale, engage your belly. Start to reach your arms forward and then down to frame your right foot. Now blocks or something like blocks are a great option here. You can frame your right foot with those blocks. From here, we're going to start to straighten into the front knee any amount as you let your back heel come down toward the floor. So we're moving more into that pyramid pose with straight legs. Heart reaches forward as your hips draw back here. And then feel free to fold any amount that you'd like over your front leg. Hands might be on the floor if that's more comfortable. Just a reminder to please feel free to keep as much of a bend in your front knee as you need for safety. Let your head reach toward your front toes if you're folding down, or if you're just reaching your heart forward, reach the crown of your head forward too. Inhale to lift your gaze. If you're using blocks, you might bring your hands back up onto your blocks. Going to take a slight bend into that front knee and make our way into a warrior three. So you can walk your hands or blocks forward of your front foot and then come to balance on your front foot and both hands as you float your left leg, your back leg, up into the air. Flex your left foot so that the toes point down. Hands might stay where they are, or you could explore playing more with balance as you float one or both arms up and back for airplane arms, letting your heart reach forward, lengthening the spine. See where you can soften a little bit in your body, maybe your jaw or your gaze as you're breathing here. Start to bend your front knee, float your left foot down next to your right foot. Let's fold forward over both legs. You might bend a little into one knee and then the next, kind of shaking it out slowly. And then taking your time, just going to inhale, make your way back up to standing. Coming up nice and slow. Feet hips width distance. And let's set up for our second side with that lunge. So I'm just going to switch sides that I'm practicing on, but we're going to step our right foot back this time for a lunge on the left foot. Again, you get to decide how much space is between your feet. Bending into the left knee, straight and strong back leg, really engaging through that back leg up on the toes or the ball of your foot. As you settle in, just settle your gaze first, then engage your belly, drawing in towards your center. If you would like to float your arms out and up, you can feel free to do that. Your next exhale, engage your belly. Start to reach your hands forward and then down, either to the floor or your blocks to frame your front foot. As you're there, start to drop your back heel down and allow your front knee to straighten any amount. So we're finding that pyramid pose, both legs moving towards straight. I like to lengthen my spine here first before folding. So reach heart forward, send tailbone back, and then only if it feels okay in your body, fold forward any amount. Keep at least a micro bend in your front knee. If you lock that knee, it'll put a little too much pressure on your knee joint. So try to keep at least a slight bend, maybe more. Lifting your gaze, start to walk your hands or your blocks forward of your front foot. And make your way into warrior three, balancing on the left foot and both hands as your right leg lifts. Right toes point down so our hips are square. And you can play with any variation you'd like here, keeping your hands on your blocks, coming up onto your fingertips on blocks, or even floating one or both arms behind next to your body, palms turned down. Start to bend into your standing knee and let your right foot float down next to your left foot. Let's find flat back, hands to shins or above your knees as you lift and lengthen your spine. As you exhale, soften your knees and fold forward. We're going to find a chair pose. So you have two choices for your feet. You can keep them hips width distance, or you can heel toe your feet together so your big toes touch and your heels are about 1 inch apart. Now, if your feet are hips width distance, keep your knees hips width distance. If your feet are together, squeeze your knees and thighs together. Let's start to bend the knees, let your weight drop back into your heels as your hips sink back and down. Belly can just rest on thighs. When you're ready, lift just your upper body, hands to hips or arms sweeping up, lengthening through the side bodies as you lower your hips. And breathing for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. As you exhale, belly to thighs, fold forward. Straighten legs to your degree. If feet are together, heel toe them back out to hips width distance. Bend your knees enough so that you can loop your peace fingers around your big toes. So you're stepping on your first and middle finger with your big toe, palms turn toward each other. Bending knees, inhale, flat back, pressing your fingers down with your toes. And then as you exhale, fold forward. Let the crown of your head reach down as your elbows bend out to the sides, if elbows bend. Notice that your shoulders are going to want to reach up to your ears here. Instead, try to draw your shoulders back onto your back, lengthening the back of your neck. Straighten your legs to your degree, trying to keep your belly pinned to your thighs. Releasing your fingers from under your toes. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold forward. Plant your palms, walk or step your feet back into a plank pose, choosing to lower your knees to the floor if that's better for you. Firing up the muscles in your body, pressing firmly down through palms and finger pads. Lifting just behind your navel, keeping belly strong. Using an exhale, let's bring knees down. Bend elbows beside your ribs as you lower your chest and then your belly onto the floor. Cobra, roll over your toes, pressing the tops of your feet down. Draw your shoulders back, hug your elbows in. As you inhale, let your heart lift. Exhale, gently roll down. Rest your forehead on the floor. Strengthen up your legs. Inhale, cobra. Heart lifts any amount. Exhale, roll back down. Forehead lightly rests. One more, strengthening legs. Inhale, roll up to cobra, shoulders drawing back. Breathing here for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's roll back down. As you inhale, push up table, and then back into a child's pose, knees walking out wide, big toes touching, hips rocking back and down. Take a moment just to scan your body, noticing what's changed since you began your practice today. If you notice more sensation or heat, if you perhaps feel a little more connected to those internal rhythms, pulsations. Taking your time, slowly press your way up. Make your way around to seated. And if you'd like to sit on your blanket for just one more seated pose, I think, and you can feel free to sit on your blanket. We're going to find our Sukhasana with butterfly legs here. Just letting the knees go out to the sides, joining the soles of your feet together, and taking hold of your ankles or your feet, whatever's within reach. Now we're going to try to draw the shoulders down the back, lifting the chest, lengthening the spine to your degree here. And just spend a few breaths with this tall spine. If this feels like it's enough of a stretch for you, or if you're rounding in your low back already here, then stay here for now, trying to find that length in your spine. If you have some more space to fold, then you can explore letting your elbows press down toward your thighs as your heart reaches forward over your feet. Draw your chin toward your chest. Let the crown of your head be what reaches forward. Lengthening your breath, see if you can breathe to make your belly move in and out. Softening enough through the abdomen so that your breath can actually nourish all those tissues. As you inhale, gently let yourself come back up to seated, up to a neutral seat. And we're actually going to do one more seated pose. So let's take the knees together and then go ahead and extend right leg forward. Draw left knee in, keeping left foot planted. And then wrap your hands around left knee. Draw your shoulders back, lift your heart. So sitting up nice and tall. And then we'll just keep hold of left knee with right hand. As you inhale, left arm reaches up. Exhale, turn your palm open and twist to your left. Left fingertips tent on the floor. If you'd rather hook your knee in your right elbow, you can explore that. Might be more available to some of you. As you exhale, slowly unwind back to center. Send both legs out in front of you. Bring your hands behind you, just rest back on your palms, super casual. And then we're just gonna gently tap the back of our knees on the mat. So just little taps with the back of your knees. Getting some of that lymphatic fluid moving up and down your legs. Giving a little massage to the back of your legs. Maybe go a little faster. You can let your legs flop a little side to side. Just kind of loosening things up. And then come back to a tall spine and let's switch sides. Bend your right knee this time, plant your right foot. Keep your left foot engaged here, so flexed, toes reaching back. Spend that moment just to hug your thigh in, draw your shoulders back, and lift your heart. So finding a nice long spine. And then make your way into your twist. As you inhale, reach right hand up. And as you exhale, we'll twist to the right, bringing fingertips behind your back. Trying to stay tall through your spine. Option to hook your elbow or forearm around your knee instead of your hand. As you exhale, gently unwind. Bend both knees. Switch here. You can push your props out of the way. Scoot yourself down on your mat so that you're getting ready to lie down. We'll reach our arms forward, engage belly, and slowly begin to roll down your spine one vertebra at a time. So really have to be strong through your core here as you reach your hands forward. Imagine your feet were glued down to the floor. As you make your way onto your back, bring both knees into your chest, wrap your arms around your shins, and give yourself a big hug, a big thank you to your body for carrying you through your practice today. And then find your way into your resting pose. Knees might be bent with the feet out wide, thighs knocked together, the center of the mat. Or you can, of course, take that traditional Shavasana with the legs extended, taking up a lot of space with your body today. Walk your shoulders out and away from each other underneath your back. Spread your arms out beside you, palms turning up. And find a slight tuck of your chin to lengthen the back of your neck. We did a lot of work in our neck and spine today. So allow yourself to feel all that length and space as you lie with a flat back. Softening your gaze or closing your eyes. Let's draw a closure to our practice today by finding a deep sigh all together. We'll begin just by exhaling. Inhale through nose. Open your mouth and sigh it out. Slowly bring awareness back to your breathing without changing your breath. Just simply notice your breath. Notice the quality of feeling in your body after your yoga practice today. If the judgment arises, just notice that as well. And that is this continuous practice of just trying to be a witness to your internal experience without letting all those other voices come in and have such a say about what it means for you. But just notice, are you feeling more grounded? Are you feeling less grounded? Can you simply just notice that and know that it's going to change each time you practice? As you're ready, begin to make small movements with fingers and toes. And begin to move your ankles and your wrists. Relax your jaw and let your head rock side to side, supported by the floor. Begin to make your way over onto either side, drawing your knees in, just rolling off onto your side. And keeping your gaze soft or your eyes closed, press your way up into any seated position. Taking time to bring a blanket under you if that offers more comfort. Open slightly more across your chest, letting your shoulders sneak onto your back, crown of your head reaching up toward the ceiling. Inhale, circle your arms out and up, joining them together above you if that's possible. And then exhaling as your hands press together at heart center. Gently lower your chin forward, bringing just a moment of closure to your practice. And thanks to each and every one of you for being here today. It was really lovely seeing all of you and getting to practice together. I bow to you. Namaste.